Just disgusting. Paul trying to return a contact,
Eight
and I don't mean a phone contact.
Right, right. I have a few of those I'd like to return too, but yeah, I wear contacts. I was just telling you, I wear contacts, and when I was a kid, contacts were. I never had hard contacts. That was a thing. Like my mother had those, but I always had soft contacts. But the contacts used to be really expensive. You got like one set. You wore them for 6 months or a year, and God help you if anything happened to one of them. And that happened to me. One time doing construction, it fell in the mud and got all scratched up and whatever. Now I go to Costco, but you get boxes. You can get like a year, and you get one for every day. And so they're really cheaply made now, of course, and they don't always work right. And so every once in a while, you put a contact in, you're like, I can't see anything. It's like it's blurry. Like if I look out of one eye, I can see Brad, and one eye I can only sort of see him.
It is one thing I cannot relate to. While I do not wear contacts and my eyes are not what they used to be, touching my eyeball is not a skill that I possess.
Everyone who doesn't wear contacts says that, but you got to understand something. It doesn't hurt at all.
Oh, I'm not saying it hurts.
You could right now touch the white part of your eye. Just touch it. There's nothing.
They go pass.
There's no pain. God help you if you get anything under the contact. And I mean anything, like a speck, the smallest molecule of anything, or an eyelash is the worst. That's like being tortured. But other than that, contacts are great. Other than the torture thing.
You make a compelling argument.
Do I?
No. I think I'd go with just a monocle.
A monocle, yeah. They have a spray now you can do, I guess, or an eye drop you can that helps with reading glasses. One of the things you'll be hitting in the next 10 years or so is, or maybe less, the middle-aged eye thing where you can't read anymore without correction, right? That text, that distance away. And the way you'll notice it happening is over time, you'll start moving stuff further away to see it. And my eye doctor asked, because I have really bad vision, every year would ask me, hey, have you noticed this thing? And I'm like, nope. And she's like, you will. And this went on for like 8 years. And then one year I was like, oh my God, I can't read anything. And she's like, I told you. And I'm like, well, that's like, I'm going to die someday. You predicted that?
Eventually you'll be right.
Eventually you will be right.
Eventually.
It happens. I think it happens to everybody, regardless of your vision.
Yeah, I suspect it'll happen here.
To this non-tech related podcast.
Everybody's, go to your optometrist. There you go. That's the top tip of the day.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. Your other top tip is that nobody's going to CES anymore, and you shouldn't go either. I mean, that's kind of the...
They declared they're still doing it. Did that change?
No, it didn't, but let's see. Meta, Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, T-Mobile.
I'm sorry, Amazon. You said that Facebook, Meta, the company that spread misinformation about the virus, is now concerned about CS because of a virus.
T-Mobile, who
interesting. I guess they want to live everything virtually.
Primary sponsor is no longer going. AMD is a limited presence. I think Samsung, like all the media, is no longer. It is the right move. You got to feel at this point for the trade show industry, because two years of effectively, and at this point, canceling, they're losing the money anyways. They've already rented the space. They've got everything laid out. Like, how are they going to get their money back? They can't.
Right. I know. I mean, so far, I know all the major PC makers are going. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, but I was not ever going. So it doesn't have anything to do with any kind of a virus surge or whatever. I just don't want to go to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Although, it's a weird thing to say. I miss work travel in a way, right?
Just normal.
Yeah, I miss seeing people that, we used to see, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them. I think we could probably go through a list of pros and cons there. But anyway, it's been a while. It's like 2 straight years of no work travel.
Yeah.
It's weird. Well, World Congress, that's another one, right? I think they did it last year, mid-year or something? They finally did do it, or I don't remember exactly.
Something like that.
They're still sort of planning to do it. I mean, Europe seems a little stricter on this kind of stuff. I wouldn't, and Spain has been on the do not fly list for months. I mean, regardless, before this recent surge. So I guess we'll see.
We will see. I mean, the only positive thing is that in South Africa, where this sort of first caught wind, is that they're already past the crest. So
yeah.
it seems like it's, knock on wood,
Look, because
it's like a
we're
roller
all
coaster
virus
ride, real
experts
quick
now.
up and then real quick, hopefully back down.
I don't. Some health expert said something to obviously, if everyone got vaccinated, that would actually solve this problem. But since we all know that's never going to happen, you move on to the next best thing, and the next best thing is it's not great, but it basically involves 60 or something or percent of the population gets vaccinated, and then a huge chunk of the rest gets COVID, and then recovers or not, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they become more resistant to it, and that's the natural progression. It just stinks because we could have solved this problem this year. Like this should be over.
I had a friend in the health industry, describe people who get COVID and then are immune as brute force immunity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a...
Yeah, it's like getting really sick and then losing a bunch of weight. And it's like, I really needed to lose weight. That's not necessarily the way I would have chosen, given the options. But, if it works, it works, I guess.
Anyways, welcome back to the Tech Podcast, everybody. We are Paul Thurrott and Brad Sams.
Or vice versa.
We've talked about contacts. We've talked about immunity.
Immunity.
We are just plowing through, I think, the dry season right now.
Yeah. As I said to my wife yesterday, this is the slowest week of the year until next week, which becomes the then slowest week of the year. But at least next week, we can do end of year recap type baloney and that kind of stuff. And so it's always interesting to me, on our site, on the Thurrott.com site, you get you get a list of like, well, here's the most popular articles by some form of engagement, right? Comments or page views or whatever it is. And a lot of them you're like, okay. And then there's always like one or three that you're like, what? It's like, there'll be some, I think it was last year. It was a random thing about I think it was Windows Terminal or something, or
sometimes you win the SEO lottery, and
and it's like you could
like a post that should have got 5,000 views suddenly got 500,000. You're like, what'd you do?
It hit some Google feed thing and went out into the world, and people don't usually come to the site. Something like that. Who knows? But it's always entertaining, regardless. So look forward to that.
Speaking of next week, I think there's going to be limited podcasting mostly because there's not going to be much.
I think what we had talked about was no set schedule, but we'll do at least one show.
Yep, at least one.
Just at some point, maybe midweek or whatever. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of trickles out of the mainstream. Unless everybody wants to tune back in to talk about, I don't know, fingernail health. I think we.
Well, the contacts I put in tomorrow might be a little different. I mean, we could be probably mix and match.
We could discuss the ins and outs of transition lenses. Isn't that the big popular brand of going in and out?
Or why I haven't gotten eye surgery yet? Or
that's another one. Like
I know. I can't. That's why I haven't done it. See, that's one where I'm like, I don't know. That's that's permanent.
People
you
do
poke
it. They
yourself in the eye
it's
and it hurts, but it passes. You get a laser in your eye and it doesn't go right. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
I know lots of people do it. I don't know.
Lots of people do it. They say it's great. Both my brothers, I believe, have had it done.
Well, I should know this, but your brothers are older.
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
Most tormented.
Yes.
Soul of the three.
But you'll never be the middle one. I think we can all agree, the worst. And you can tell
I think we can agree on that. I mean, I got away with murder.
It's a scientific fact. I mean, middle child,
So, anyways, that's what we'll call this podcast, the Middle Child.
Middle Child podcast.
Have a good holiday.